Ladies and gentlemen, we receive a lot of inquiries about LMIA. It seems like a lot of confusion going around. What is it? What it is not? How it's helpful, if it's helpful, for your permanent residence application? How it works in terms of your work permit application? I invited Angela to comment on this topic. She knows a lot about this. And let's start with general definition, what LMIA is.
Sure. Well, LMIA stands for the Labor Market Impact Assessment, and the keywords here are labor market. So I think a lot of confusion comes when people are not realizing that labor market impact assessment has nothing to do with Immigration Canada. It is processed for the employer and another ministry department of Canada named ESDC, Employment and Social Development of Canada. Again, it is done for the employer, and the main purpose of it is to prove that the employer was not able to hire Canadian citizen or permanent resident and to receive a special permit from the Government of Canada to bring a foreign worker to Canada.
Well, that's great, but often people write into us and complain that they trick by so-called host consultants. We know about this phenomenon on the market, and we definitely understand that scammers asking people for thousands and thousands of dollars, and people actually get hurt a lot. So why do you think it happened in general?
Yeah, well, I understand what you're talking about, and again, I think that most confusion comes when people are not realizing that LMIA process and the work permit application are two different processes. As I already said, that the LMIA is processed by ESDC and work permit is processed by Immigration Canada. So once LMIA is issued to the employer, now it is your turn to go and apply for the work permit. And guess what? Now the IRCC will check if you're actually eligible to perform the work that is listed on that LMIA. And if you're not able to prove it, then your work permit application will most likely be refused.
And what we heard, people asking about this kind of borderline between work permit and permanent residence application. So some scammers actually claim that most certainly LMIA will help in permanent residency application. Is that true?
Well, there is no direct way from LMIA to PR. That's for sure, not, period. Can it help you to obtain your PR faster? Maybe it can.
Well, then how exactly it can help?
There is no one certain way of how it can help you. However, there are some, and probably the most common one is that if you have a job offer supported by the LMIA, then it will add you extra 50 points in the express entry system, which may allow you to be invited for the permanent residency application. But again, even if you are invited, even at this point, if you're not able to prove that you're able to do the job that is listed on that LMIA, your permanent residency application can still be refused. And the other way is if you manage to get your work permit based on the LMIA, you come to Canada, you start working, you start getting your experience, and each year of experience can bring you extra points again in the express entry system or make you eligible for other permanent residency programs, for example, provincial ones. And concluding what I just said, so can it help you? Is there a direct way from LMIA to PR? No, there isn't. Can it help you to obtain your PR? It may or it may not, depending on your personal circumstances and background.
Well, it seems like it's an attractive option, no question about that. Yes, but at the same time, like everything attractive, it's also called for some fraud. How people can recognize the fake LMIA?
Well, I think now when the listener knows a bit more about the process, it is actually not that hard to answer that question. Think of LMIA as a hiring process, as your job offer. So how does it work in real life? Will you be able to work for someone who you have never seen in your life? Or will they be able to hire you if they actually don't know that if you're able to perform the work that they want you to do? Probably not. So if someone is letting you to buy LMIA without actually connecting you to the employee first, that's probably the first and the biggest red flag I would look for. And the other red flag I would say is that if someone tells you that you guaranteed to get your work permit or permanent residency by getting your LMIA. There is no such thing as guarantee as it is processed by Government of Canada, and it does not depend on immigration consultants or the lawyers, unfortunately.
Well, that's what people say. If it's too good to be true, it's probably not true, right? But why exactly it's so dangerous? What would be the negative consequences of getting that kind of fake LMIA?
If this LMIA job offer is not genuine, if you're not actually intended to come to Canada, if you lie on your application that you're able to perform that job when you're not eligible to do so, then in the probably best case scenario, it can lead you to 5-year ban from Canada, to like misrepresentation ban, or in the worst case, it can also lead to some legal actions taken against you by Government of Canada, and I would not play with that for sure.
Oh, for sure. And we always say, don't think after 5 years of ban, Government of Canada will trust you completely again. Of course, it will be on your file, and basically you can say goodbye to immigration forever. But how to prevent it? Well, I guess we can list certain recommendations. First, apply common sense. And when you apply common sense, you will understand that something is too good to be true, it's not true. Second, educate yourself. If you educate yourself, if you read about what's offered to you, you probably will understand right away if it's fake or real. Another one is kind of obvious, but again, people fail on that. Why don't you contact your employer and verify everything that you see on that LMIA? LMIA is a personal thing, and you have to be actually in compliance with those rules and requirements and terms of LMIA. Are you prepared to follow those compliance and regulations? That's another question. And final, if you questioning if it's real or not, why don't you take second opinion and ask somebody unrelated to that party and ask if it's real, if it works the way it's promised. And the most important factor, like Angela mentioned, try to see if it actually helps. We see many factors, right? Like many situations, many cases when people go on LMIA thinking it will bring them to Canada and they still have not enough points. And sometimes it's easier to explore other options too. That leads me to final conclusion. I guess educate yourself, ask advice, and stay safe. Right, Angela?
Well, yes, that's right. And I think by watching this video, you're much more educated now about the whole LMIA process. But if you still have any questions or comments, feel free to ask them below this video.
And as always, subscribe. You have a link below. Like this video and share it with someone you think will benefit from this. And stay safe.